Knowing that I would get to spend the summer in the hayfields with my grandfather is where my love for agriculture first started. This carried on into my early youth with the 4-H competing on the state livestock judging teams, and in my high school years where the FFA in agriculture education took precedence. I anchored many career development event teams and held leadership roles that included the chapter president. I also was able to receive awards for my dedication and service that included the Star Chapter Farmer, as well as the DeKalb Top Ag Student. I received scholarships as a senior, as the National FFA Fast Line Scholarship. Knowing that I wanted to pursue a career in agriculture, I made the decision to attend Virginia Tech University, where I majored in agriculture business and production management. While at Tech, I was involved in agriculture organizations and clubs that included the Block and Bridle Club, where as a freshman, I was the outstanding new member. I also was a brother of Alpha Gamma Rho, the National Agriculture Fraternity, and I competed on Virginia Tech's collegiate livestock judging team. After receiving my degrees, I had the awesome opportunity to travel to Kansas, where in those 5 years I worked for 2 great farm families. The first, on a 12,000 head background feedlot as their assistant manager, and a 550 head purebred Angus operation which spanned over 10,000 acres as their herdsman.
I am originally from Mars, Pennsylvania, a suburb of the city of Pittsburgh. I grew up riding, training, and showing horses competitively in the tri-state area of western Pennsylvania. My family owned just enough land to allow me to have my 2 horses at home, which taught me responsibility from a very early age. In hopes of finding a career that allowed me to continue my passion, I decided to attend Virginia Tech University and major in animal and poultry science. While at Tech, I was a member of the equestrian team, equestrian club, block and bridle, and a sister of Sigma Alpha. This is also where David and I first met. In 2001, after graduating, I accepted the assistant equestrian coach position at Kansas State University. While coaching the Wildcats, I completed my master's in animal science industry with an emphasis in education. In 2005, I was named the inaugural head women's equestrian coach at the University of Tennessee at Martin, charged with building their equestrian team from the ground up. Shortly after relocating to Tennessee, David and I were married back on the campus at Virginia Tech.
I have the privilege to work in animal agriculture every day. As an advisor for Tyson Foods, I have the responsibility over 10 million broiler birds annually. But the highlight of my job is working with the 23 farm families who raise their birds. We work hand in hand every day to make sure animal welfare is number one. We also utilize proper feed management as well as lighting and ventilation systems coupled with water sanitation programs. I have the responsibility of all new growers in construction, and I make sure that our new farmers are adequately trained to one day take over the reins of their high-tech systems. Another valuable part of my job, though, is I get to speak at different agriculture events as well as 15 youth farm days, reaching out to over 6,000 children, advocating the way that we raise poultry is not only beneficial to animal welfare, but our nation's food safety.
What David won't tell you is that he was awarded the 2012 Tech of the Year through Tyson Foods for his dedication to his growers. This award has been based on several financial considerations, including lowest feed returns as well as highest yields. He also was responsible for 5 out of the top 10 growers in their complex, including the #1 and #2 growers of the year. When you think of your favorite collegiate coach, let's say Coach Pat Headsummit, I hold the same responsibilities as she did, except our team equipment includes a performance herd of 25 horses. As the head women's equestrian coach, I am responsible for coaching, recruiting, and day-to-day management of our 25 female student athletes, as well as care and oversight for our 25 performance horses. I serve on several national committees that work at promoting the sport of equestrian to championship level within the NCAA. I teach continuing education seminars to various groups, as well as camps, clinics, and riding lessons to all ages and abilities. In addition to coaching, I also teach within the Department of Ag and Natural Resources at the University of Tennessee at Martin. I currently teach the Intro to Animal Science labs, where I teach my students best management practices in each of the major areas of livestock, as well as address major issues, misunderstandings of animal agriculture.
What Megan did not mention was in her youth, she was a very accomplished rider, winning many state and national championships in the sport of equestrian. but her greatest success comes through her student athletes. Since the program's existence, Megan's teams have consecutively qualified for their national championships. She's not only coached 3 athletic All-Americans, but as well as 3 academic All-Americans in those years.
David and I also own and operate a 25-head cow-calf herd consisting of Simmental and Angus cattle. We raise top-quality replacement heifers, performance bulls, and feeder cattle, and have had some of the top-selling pairs in our regional Angus sales.
We further diversified our farm this past year as we began to raise pumpkins. We raised specialty pumpkins as well as large-sized jack-o'-lanterns, coupled with mums and straw that we sell as fall decorations at several roadside locations, as well as providing for school and church fundraisers. Meg and I first moved to Tennessee. The Young Farmer and Rancher program, as well as Farm Bureau, we thought then was a way to meet people of like interest. However, the more we became involved, the more passionate about the direction and mission of both of these organizations we have. I've had the great opportunity to serve not only as my county, but my district's Young Farmer and Rancher Vice Chairman as well as Chairman. I currently serve on my Farm Bureau Board of Directors at the county level and several committees within. Megan and I had a great opportunity this past year to represent the state of Tennessee and Hawaii at the American Farm Bureau Convention as voting delegates, where we voted on key issues as well as anything that involved agriculture on a daily basis. I had the great opportunity to travel to Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I attended the American Farm Bureau Leadership Conference and was able to network with other young farmers and ranchers from across our country. I also was able to continue to build my leadership skill set.
I too am very active in leadership roles within the Farm Bureau. However, 2 that are near and dear to me are Farm Day Chair and our County Women's Chair. As Farm Day Chair, we bring 500 4th graders out to the farm for a 16-stop to-farm tour, which introduces them to all aspects of agriculture. Additionally, each child gets to go home with a free t-shirt. When I took over as County Women's Chair, I had 2 main goals in mind. One was to increase our involvement in ag in the classroom activities, and 2 was to increase our ag awareness activities. One such activity was our involvement in Plant a Row for the Hungry, where our ladies donated fresh produce from their gardens to our local county food bank. When pounds converted to meals, we donated over 2,000 meals to those in our community suffering from hunger. This was not only a great opportunity for us to start the conversation about agriculture's products as fresh and nutritious, but also to begin addressing hunger in our own backyard. I also had the opportunity to participate in AFBF's Women's Communication Boot Camp, where I gained valuable skills in communicating to non-farming groups and various forms of media, such as radio and television.
We've both had the great opportunity to serve in the agriculture community with our leadership. I have had the opportunity to guest lecture at the University of Tennessee at Martin through their Animal Science Department on both swine and poultry practice. I've helped with agribility projects in my community where we help injured farmers apply apparatuses to their tractors as well as their implements, where they can continue in their daily farming operation. Something I'm most proud of is the Save a Farmer campaign that I helped create last year. With the help of other West Tennessee farmers, we assembled trailer truckloads of hay that was sent to drought-stricken Texas. We also give back contributions to our 4-H and FFA programs through the portions of the sales of our pumpkins, partnered with Tractor Supply. I've helped area producers with their financial needs and concerns as I've served on our Farm Credit Advisory Board for the past 5 years. We've also been very involved in our civic community, and we further showed this past year as we sponsored some youth league girl softball teams.
I too am very active in community and civic leadership. One of my favorite activities is volunteering with the Hoofbeats of Hope, which is a therapeutic riding program in our area, and also serves as our teen service project. Throughout the years, I've donated several riding lessons and free camp admissions to local organizations and charities to help them raise money for their philanthropies. I host the Girl Scouts on several occasions, helping them earn the requirements needed for their horse badge. And I volunteer at our county library summer reading program, where I teach and speak to the children about citizenship. Today, David and I would like to discuss 3 issues affecting agriculture. We have specifically chosen these issues because they affect our livelihood on a day in and day out basis. the first of which is animal welfare versus animal rights. We must assist the public distinguish the difference between animal welfare and animal rights. Many Americans are simply too busy to verify the sensationalized media that is reported to them, and as a result, animal agriculture is under attack. Coupled with special interest groups that are well-funded and organized, the sustainability of agriculture is in jeopardy.
It's essential that those of us as professionals in our occupation are telling our story and not letting others outside of agriculture to do so. We must help the general public distinguish the real-life accounts of the American farmer and rancher who take great pride in caring for their livestock versus the emotional appeal of those not actively involved in animal care. Special interest groups should not have the ability to set the standards by which we raise our livestock. These standards need to be scientific-based, as well as any further legislation brought forth the same. As part of my job at Tyson Foods, I conduct these daily animal welfare audits and make sure that our birds are raised in a humanely manner, as well as their housing conditions are in compliance. As I speak to the public, I highlight the practices and procedures that we use to raise the poultry in a humane way, that their family might one day consume products from these animals.
When I speak to groups about horse care, I'm sure to drive 3 major points home. 1, the need for responsible ownership. 2, the need for horses to be continued to be classified as livestock. And 3, the consequences of eliminating horse processing facilities in this country. While I'm not offering these as an excuse, I'm highlighting the need for effective policies. Our second issue today is the infrastructure of the U.S. waterways. From our 13 colonies to our 50 states, our country has been built around our coastal ports and our inland waterways. The infrastructure of the U.S. waterways is critical to agriculture in a global market, and trade is our economic engine for growth. 3/4 of all imports and exports are waterborne, and 35% of agriculture's income is from exports alone. Additionally, a 115 barge tow eliminates 870 tractor trailers from our highway because of their efficiency.
However, the waterway infrastructure has not been maintained at the same rate as our economic growth. This responsibility falls directly back on our federal, state, and local governments, with the 2 main financial generators being the Harbor Maintenance Tax and the Inland Waterway Trust. And over 60% of our locks and dams being over 60 years of age. Most of these funds have had to be used in the form of emergency repairs. However, with new bipartisan legislation being brought forth and sponsored by Tennessee Senator Lamar Alexander with the American Waterways Act, this bill, when passed, will not only create additional revenue for operation and maintenance, but as well as new projects. It will also expedite the process in which these are approved.
The Panama Canal is currently under expansion and set to reopen next year. When it reopens, it will be able to accept loads 3 times its current size, as well as ships 1,200 foot in length with drafts of 50 foot in depth. Currently, ships are being manufactured to these specifications. The Gulf of Mexico, which is the heartland of American agriculture's link to its global markets via the Mississippi River, currently does not have a port capable of handling this size of ship.
From where we are today, a mere 4 hours away, is the shorelines of the Mississippi River. And if you were to drive along, you'd see the worst drought in 50 years, the evidence. And with the draft already at a minimum for navigation, the Army Corps of Engineers had planned to further restrict the water flow out of the Missouri River. And with large rock formation further making navigation that much more dangerous, this is reducing the size of cargo loads, which is increasing the overall input cost. Good news is, through the help of the American Farm Bureau Federation, working directly with the White House and the Army Corps of Engineers, the rock formation removal was expedited, as well as additional water released into the Mississippi River.
Our third and final issue today is food security and safety. Human and bacterial resistance to antibiotics poses a serious health threat. Current legislation calling for the restriction of the use of antibiotics in livestock intended for human consumption would devastate our efforts in ensuring animal health and therefore animal welfare and food safety and security.
It is essential that those of us in animal agriculture have the same ability to treat our livestock as one would treat their own child in the event of an illness. Prompt treatment will prevent further outbreak. As I educate the public about we do not use antibiotics on a preventative matter, in the event of an illness, we have on-staff veterinarians that makes the decision about the medications we use and the process they are. When we have to use an antibiotic, it's on an animal welfare basis only, and we abide by all Food and Drug Administration guidelines as we take fat and thigh samples to be processed before the very first bird is ever harvested out of our houses to make sure there is no antibiotic residue in the meat. However, we do use preventative measures such as our stringent biosecurity program, our all-in, all-out flock policy, and our overall flock health management to make sure we are further reducing the chance of a major illness and the need of medications.
While David and I just discussed 3 issues affecting our livelihood, we are very optimistic about the future of agriculture. With strong leaders and grassroots organizations like Farm Bureau, our voices can be heard and sound policies developed from there. As David and I look into the future, our leadership goals for the next 5 years are in 3 parts: Farm Bureau leadership, personal development, and professional growth. David currently has his sights set on becoming the Tennessee Young Farmer and Rancher Chairman, and I would like to extend my involvement in the Women's Committee to the state level. We would like to continue to support the youth organizations that our children will one day be a part of, as well as serve as mentors for young adults wishing to pursue careers in agriculture. I would like to seek election for our county school board so that I can ensure that every child has proper academics and extracurricular activities available to them so that they are capable of achieving their own personal excellence.
As it pertains to our farm, we are currently selecting varieties for the next year that will increase, and we're also increasing our acreage, hopefully our profitability. And we're on our 5-year plan, we're hopefully going to be able to purchase enough acreage to substantially increase our cow-calf, as well as bind into a contract with a swine or poultry integrator. We thank you so very much for coming today to hear our story. We will be glad to take any questions at this time.
I guess the question I have is when it comes to advocacy, especially at the youth level, can you be a little bit more specific of what you guys have done at the local level?
First and foremost, Farm Day.